Okay, welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Me not die. Prof, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. How you doing?
I really enjoyed the song. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Another year coming to an end.
sorry to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. I think we're gonna hear from our people back home about the
Yeah,
new year before we continue.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Or Liberia in 2022.
We pray that God will bring us prosperity.
it's kind of stuck, I think.
I see.
New Year that coming.
You know, it can be fun because now the country now straight looking at the money they need how the business how doing no something very small business now moving like before.
So
The new year looking here to bring prosperity for us. We pray that we should get prosperity, our children should get good education, our business should be able to run, and we need blessing, we need grace.
The new year is become fun, very nice in the future because all the people who are in front of us here, you're taking care of the area. Yes, so you see the thing, you have your LC right now. That's why you see my friend going here right now.
if so how you think about Liberia next year, 2022 that coming? How do you look at it? You want it to be good or you want it to be bad? Uh,
For me, I expect good help and I really change my things within this government. The hospitals, let's just say the whole of Liberia. You can hear people crying, no facility, people are suffering, homes are sleeping without food. So let changes take place in life. As for me,
Actually, I'm expecting for the country system to be changed because now the country is going back. So let us pray so that the new government should put things into place for Liberia.
Things are possible. The new year will be alright.
so how you look at 2022 for Liberia next year?
2022 will be alright by the love of God. It will be like good person there.
Your
Joshua T. Sherry Jr. And 2021 was a very tough year. I hope that 2022 will be a very successful year. Teaching. See some progress with some children in 2022. We hope for the better in 2022. And everybody will benefit that it will improve to the country. And maybe get some job, investors may come in. We have to rebuild our country. People will get jobs. We'll do a better year. But 2021 was a very, very tough year. So
go ahead, Neva.
My name Kopo Kekula. I'm on top. 2021, this year 2021. I don't want to be in the country. The year 2021 will bring prosperity in my life. It will change my life. I don't want to be the same.
2022.
2022, I don't want to be the same again. I want to be a different person. I don't want to be the same. I want for God to change my life.
Amen.
I want for God to bring things that will change my life. And my enemy will never look down at me. 2022.
Thank you. We thought we would start with that, Prof, because it's good to always hear from our people back home. And you can see that they are also in a spirit of new beginnings. Everybody's looking forward to 2022, that it will be better than 2021. So, Prof, Happy New Year. It hasn't come yet, but it's in Liberia. So
Yeah, that's right.
we are also looking for new beginnings
I know.
for 2022. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's
So,
a sense of hope.
yes.
As I always say, the day we ever lose hope is the day we die.
Yeah.
Because hope has a mysterious energy to keep us moving forward.
Yeah. And you see it even with the last lady, she said, it has to be better.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. So they they all have some semblance of hope. Yeah. So we come again, like we did last week, when we just kind of talked around Christmas and what it means to us and things like that. We're going to start with a little bit of history of January, I guess. And then we're just going to go into the conversation, and feel free to join us. Call if you want to call. Participate by sending by writing in the message board, and we will get to it. And before we start, may I bring your attention to the donate to focus on Liberia. So if you're looking for some tax credit, if you're looking to give some money, maybe you were very lucky in the stock market or something else, please donate to Focus on Liberia. It's we're here every week. All of the programs are here, and of course we have to pay for StreamYard and for other things. So please donate. Yeah. So we get
and it doesn't take, well, of course, as Jackie said, if you were blessed and you want to step up in a big way, fine. But it doesn't take much, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to contribute to us. The more people contribute, the amount may be small, but it will be a big push for all of us. So thank you for considering to donate to us.
Yeah. And before we jump into our discussion about Liberian New Year, we thought, this is a literary hour, so we have to educate, elevate, and promote.
Yeah.
So we thought that we would just probably show something about New Year, right? New Year is a two-faced Janus presumed to be native to Italy, the god of beginnings and endings, right? Yeah. So January is named after him. So Janus was seen as symbolically looking back at the old and adhere to the new, and this idea became tied to the concept of transition from one year to the next. Romans would celebrate January 1st by giving offerings to Janus in the hope of gaining good fortune for the new year. And most Romans chose to work on a part of New Year's Day, because idleness was a bad omen for the rest of the year. So, Prof, so that's why we do work. I've been cleaning. So January, with the two-faced Janus, is about endings and beginnings, Prof.
Yeah.
So we're ending 2021 with all its problems, with all its health-related pandemics and things like that. And of course, in Liberia, people are spending watch meeting. They're going to New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
So Prof, tell me a little bit about this going to church because I swear, growing up, every New Year's Eve we're in church, and then at almost 12 midnight they turn the lights off, and people start to cry. So where did this tradition come from?
Well, I mean, we are all following world tradition of because the thing about even the momentary darkness is to kind of reflect a little to see how it's all centered around transition. It's all centered around tradition. I mean, not tradition, but transition. Moving from, there's a break. It's intermission. If you think of it in terms of even acting, in terms of drama, we move from one scene to the other. We move from one act to the other, because at the apex of a play, you have the act which sets up the block scene, and then even within the block scene, there are sub block scenes and what have you. And when it's coming, the curtain rolls, and then after a while, maybe the transition. I mean, the transition is more of some interlude of music, and then you move on into to see that, to realize that something has taken place or something is taking place and what have you. So that has become part of the process of New Year versus Old Year.
And this process of introspection,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and reflection,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and prospection.
Yeah,
That's such a word,
yeah.
you know, that you're reflecting
Mm-hmm.
on the year, you know,
Yeah.
personal triumphs,
Yeah.
personal
Mm-hmm.
defeats,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then you're also taking it in,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Absorbing
and
it.
then
Yeah.
absorbing, and
Yeah.
then there's also an element of cleansing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and many times what I do is I write down things that I haven't completed in a year.
Yeah.
And at midnight I burn them, you know. And when I say
Yeah.
I burn them, I mean I want to start anew.
Yeah.
So all hurts, things like that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I do away with them.
Yeah.
But it's not just Janus. You know, people say, yeah, January is named after Janus. But in Africa, we also have the tradition of
Mm-hmm.
of looking ahead and then
Yeah.
looking behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to show Sankofa, right?
Yeah.
Sankofa
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tweet word that
Yeah.
says
Truly,
go
yeah.
back and get it, you know.
Yeah.
You have, before you go in front,
Yeah.
you must go back.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. We
Yeah.
try to say, before we can go forward as a people, we must know our history. So we
Yeah.
go back to
Mm-hmm.
see our history.
Yeah.
You know, and I like these Adinkra symbols because they're so symbolic
Yeah.
of a lot
So
of things, you
powerful.
know. Mine is Jinyami. Jinyami means except for God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And I see it like when I go to Ghana, they have all these symbols at the windows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those of you who lived in Ghana,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know the Adinkra symbols, you know. And for me, Sankofa and Jinyami are the two that really I hold close to my
they are very popular.
yeah.
As I, living in that place, there were times virtually you went to every home, you found Junior Me, and then Sankofa, which is the account tree word.
Yeah.
Yes, you know.
And then another thing is that actually it's funny because I was trying to look up some New Year's tradition. And one of the things they do down south is they eat collard greens, right? And beans,
Yeah.
and black-eyed peas. And they were saying, oh, black-eyed peas and collard greens, they're from West Africa. And the people who were enslaved brought it with them, you know, as part of the tradition that they have. So New Year's Day, people down south, they eat collard greens and black-eyed peas.
And they talking about symbols again. Sometimes we talk about the diversity of symbols, the diversity of cultural practices and what have you. The core part of it is that people recognize, there might be divergent practices and what have you, but at the core of the practice is what we look at, which is that people recognize the importance of transition.
Yeah.
People recognize the importance of celebrating, moving from the old year to the new year, and whatever symbols they use, it's not supposed to be something to a kind of say, oh well, it doesn't exist. No, it does exist, but the idea is that one particular thing is the recognition. What applies and all that becomes part of the culture, maybe based on the environment and what have you. We have to kind of rule with it and say, wow, people are celebrating. That is the thing that matters.
And Prof, yes, people celebrate the New Year, but I think that many times we don't do a very deep reflection. You know, people say, oh, they celebrate New Year, then they go right back to you know, and I think that is because sometimes we don't really reflect, to think about your life, as part of a greater whole. Like, how does my life affect other people? How does what I do affect other people? This is an ending and a beginning, and there's nothing. And throughout the year, people can end other things, but January 1st is more the characteristics that marks January 1st is a new beginning. You're putting old things aside and you're beginning again. So let's look at, before we go into really discussing about beginnings and endings, let's talk a little bit about about literary hour. This is the year in review, as we say. Yeah. So, Prof, it's been a year that you and I have come on this journey.
Yeah.
That we have.
Yeah, it's really been a year of you call it a dramatic year, dramatic year for the number of things that could have pissed us off, a number of things that could have made us laugh until we fell off our seats and all that kind of a thing. But again, I believe that a a moment in time that is both good and bad, sad and joyful. These are the elements that keep life going. We can get philosophical about it. These are the things that keep life going. If you were in a place where there was much laughter and all that kind of thing, there would be something to say, but wait a minute, that's only laughing we'll do all day today. And then when it's all sadness, at some point, that's where we begin to see what I call the awness, okay, being awesome. God has a way of a kind of interspersing these things from one end to the other, and that is what keeps us human. That is what keeps us a kind of responding to one another. Because one thing happens, it is sad. We want to reach out to friends we know. We want to reach out to other people we know. And when things get even a kind of joyful, we still are in the spirit of wanting to spread the good news. So yes, this year has been a tough year for some of us too, especially illness and what have you. But if we have a super force to appeal to, God, for instance, it is when we reach out to that one spiritual force to keep us going.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Go ahead.
And before I answer, I will ask you.
This is New Year, so please be gentle.
This is the year in review, so let's cut to the chase, Prof. I would say, in order of likeness, let me put it that word, or impact. What are your three or your two favorite shows?
Oh no, this is unfair. No, I think one aspect was the thing that had to do with our Africanness, understanding our Africanness. Of course, it has a metastasizing type of focus on what have you, but the idea that we got a little more to experience an understanding of our Africanness, and then we move on to Pan-Africanism. Of course, the understanding is still elusive. Okay, that was one area. And the second area was this land acquisition type of thing. As we always say, hey, there's an article written by one Steve Evans. Steve Evans has written a lot about Bhutanese culture. Bhutan is in a Far East area there, and this little country focuses on the importance of collective peace, the importance of camaraderie. And Evans talks about a whole lot. And so when we talk about land acquisition, we are talking about the history of our beginnings. We are talking about the history of how we spread out land acquisition and what we've done with the land and what have you, because it is at the heart of much struggle in almost any country. How did we land here? Who had what and who did what? So the issue of land acquisition is very much important. Again, not so much of stirring up wounds and what have you, but to put things in a better perspective. If we don't know how we begin, we will not know how to go and where to go and what have you. So those two things, one, which had to do with understanding our Africanness at least a little bit, our Pan-Africanism and what have you, and then moving on to how we got here, who did what and what have you, understanding those stories. This guy, as I was saying, Evans, has said that unless you understand, in fact, you have to understand your story to be able to tell it to other people. So those two moments were very much important to me.
Yeah, I think for me, the interviews, I really like reading books of Liberian authors and interviewing them.
Yeah.
You know, I think Cotto Reeves and Augustine Sharif and Bamba Sharif and all the others. You know, I think, and you're right, Prof. I think my second favorite is the Cape Masurado saga, because 2 days ago, Dr. Augustine Conan wrote in the front page Africa, I think, about the bicentennial and that it was not inclusive. And Prof, I was shocked at the amount of insults that he got. You know, and people must also understand that you can disagree, but this is history. And what people don't understand is, and as we said, when the people came to get Cape Masurado, it was not the settlers, it was not the Americo-Liberians, it was the United States government sending Stockton. But they see it as, oh, you're bringing division. But like we always say, right? Nothing is ever settled until it is settled right. So since we are coming to our 175th birthday, you know, I think that it is very, very essential that we get this history right. That Eli Aries gave an accurate account of how King Peter cried, begging them that he did not sell them the land and things like that. So anyway, those two were well, not those two, the group of interviews and the Cape Masurado. I think they were my favorite as well.
And again, excuse me. Look, historians must never easily stop a kind of putting the core part of a nation's history into perspective. Whatever you call it, guilt is a disease. Guilt is a disease. If it kind of inflicts you, then definitely you just want people to stop talking. But guilt is important because it tells a current generation to know what might have gone amiss and try as much as possible to not repeat. You see, to not repeat certain things that now may kind of stir embarrassment and what have you. If I had an ancestry that did not do so well, I think I should then at some point be able to have the temerity, the strength and everything to be able to be the change agent. And it's very much important.
Yeah, and you know, like you say, you know, just how when it's New Year, people are washing their clothes, cleaning their homes, you know, That's how we're to do.
Yeah,
We're supposed
yes.
to move the cobwebs
Yes.
to our history and
Yes.
focus, you know,
Yes.
focus.
Yeah.
And focus, yeah,
Mhm.
you know, because that is very, very important.
Very much so.
And yeah, we wash clothes, we pray for New Year,
Yeah.
we cook good food and eat.
Mhm, mhm.
And no matter where you are, it seems as if there are characteristics of New Year for like
Yeah.
Liberians. Wash meeting.
Mhm.
We go to wash meeting.
Yes.
We cook, you
Yeah.
know, and we clean.
Scrub the floor.
You know, I'm sure there are other groups that do it, but we do it as well. So it's kind of very, very interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we had just how the Romans had the Janus. We got our Sankofa. So both ending and beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. So Prof, let's I have these little things to show because I just think that, you know, with the new year, I listened last year to my New Year's resolution. I think I called, you know, focus on Liberia and give my New Year's resolution, you know, and things like that. So one of the things that I saw this, you know, I used to chase cars in Liberia when I was there to take pictures, you know, and this one really personifies Liberia, that Liberians are survivors.
Yeah.
You know, and Gwendolyn Brooks said that we are each other's harvest, we are each other's business, we are each other's magnitude and bond.
Mhm.
You know, and one of the things that really makes me think is that it's like we have very short-term memory. You know,
Yeah.
I was going through the thing, I was like, oh, this thing happened, you know, and I think we have a lot of things to do in our lives that we forget sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, we don't follow through. And I'm hoping that this year Liberia and Liberians can follow through on some of the things that were left behind.
Yes.
Prof say yes.
Yeah,
It's true.
that's true. The thing about it is the very attribute of life that is fascinating is that we are in a flux. We are in a flux of changing and rechanging. We are in a flux of matching, and yet at some point something grabs our attention. It's like a kid. You taking a kid of maybe a toddler, or maybe someone who is transitioning toddling, and this kid keeps going, and there's something grabs the attention, and that child wants to turn around and go to see that thing, and you keep calling, no, uh, 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 little girl, let's go this way. No, little boy, let's go this way. And that's what we are, I guess, to the higher powers. If God is looking, and all of the time say, oh my God, or oh myself, this is where I wanted this human being to go, and yet this human being is going. But again, that is the human process. That is the process of life that keeps on going, and that is the thing again that makes life fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of
that's what they say, right? Man gives birth to himself over 1,000 times when he's, you know,
yes.
you become a mother, your children go away, you become a person in your own right, you become a daughter, a wife, a partner. There's so many things. So you have all these roles that you play.
You have all these roles you play, and then they keep you in a spin. Yeah, they keep you in a spin. Sometimes you get so breathless, and yet you must go. As long as life exists, you must go. You must keep going until the final nail is told, and you are carted away. Like
as Shakespeare says, man plays many parts.
Yeah, and like we have the old man Desmond going to tomorrow. You know, Desmond Tutu. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I would think, what does New Year mean to you? And please feel free to put in the chat what New Year means to you, Prof. We already discussed that. We said new beginnings, right? New beginnings and endings. And some of the things we will take it in the new year, and some of the things we will not.
Yeah.
You know, and so I always say that there are two different. You have the new beginning, what it means to you personally, And then you have the other ones where it means to you, like public sphere.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
where will you be when the clock strikes 12 a.m. tonight, Prof? Where will you be?
I'll be in my bedroom.
No, Prof.
The thing about it is, for me, sometimes I get bored with symbols. I think at the heart, I think the last time we were talking about Christmas and people talking about December, people talking about April and what have you, and I said at the heart of it all is the meaning, of God, the meaning of Christ. Who says what about his color, his race, and what? I know at some point it matters when people begin to weaponize and commercialize these symbols and all that kind of a thing. But at the heart of it all is that I recognize the divinity of God and what have you. I recognize the divinity of Christ and what have you. Similarly, so when it comes to where will I be? Where will I be when?
Yeah, where will you be? Where will you be?
Yes, that's the comment I'm making. Where will I be? Well, the popular ritual is to be at the church and what have you, but it has to be a time of pausing wherever you are. It has to be a time of pausing, as we were talking about, reflection, and making sure, it is not the time to kind of engage in devious things and what have you, but it's the time for pausing wherever it is and recognize the importance of God in your life, recognize what he's done for you, and recognize what he hopes to do for you. And if you can put all these things together, then as I see it, it doesn't matter where you will be, as long as it's decent, as long as it's a kind of introspective.
I don't know if they're going to be dropping the ball tonight. Usually St. Thomas Episcopal Church on Camp Johnson Road, my church in Liberia, they usually have watch meeting and they show it on the Facebook, and then you can join. Yeah. So okay. So the next one, I'm going to go down the list with you before before the audience. What will you be leaving behind as you enter the new year?
I think it's going to be, sometimes you get to a point where you get so doubtful about your life, doubtful about things changing and what have you. The other time I was looking at a speech after 70 years was replayed. It had to do with Albert Camus. Albert Camus and his the human crisis. And what struck me more was the idea that it seems human beings continue to wallow in hopelessness because of what other human beings do to other human beings.
Yeah.
And as we move forward, what I want to leave behind, sometimes it's difficult to do, is that of expressing doubts. You look at Liberia, you look at the world, and you are asking, when will things ever change? Will they ever change? How many more people will be ruthless? How many people will be heartless? And that question, even if it is not resolved, it is a very important one to keep asking. And if you ask that, then the next question is, what can I do in my little corner? What can I do in my country to make things better? And I think that doubtfulness, I will hope that it will diminish at some point, and I will keep being hopeful to the end of my life.
Then the last one, and those of you listening, please join us. You can write down what you'll be leaving behind. You get what is your New Year's wish for Liberia? What will you be when the clock strikes 12 a.m.? We'll read your comments. So, Prof, what is your New Year's wish for Liberia?
It's going to be again that Liberia develops the leadership. Liberia develops the kind of men and women who have the capacity or who cultivate the capacity to want to do things better. There has to come a time where people have got to get away from this emptiness, this vanity that would make those people a kind of indulge in things that have a kind of weakness to keep life going. People have to kind of pull away from such things that will, make Liberians unhappy. I think it's about time that real happiness, and happiness in terms of health programs, happiness in terms of educational programs, happiness in terms of even religious programs that intend to kind of make lives better than to kind of frustrate life.
Okay. Well, as you know, New Year it means to me new beginnings and closing some doors and opening new ones.
Yeah.
I will be right here in my house, drinking some wine and celebrating and thanking God.
So
What will I be leaving behind as I enter the new year? I think to try and enjoy life more, because the COVID has shown us that you can go at any time.
Yeah.
Try to not be so serious, but like you said, people are full of doubts. Nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
So to try and just learn, people say, oh, if you think you know everything, just go to the library and see how many books you haven't read.
Yeah.
So just be I think for me, just to be humble in the face of life, because sometimes and then sometimes life brings you to your knees.
Yeah.
Life whips you, and all you can do is just get on your knees and say, my God, can I live through this?
I am a witness.
And you're a witness. Yeah. And sometimes again, just to laugh at yourself. The other day I went to the ATM and then rushing, I walked out of the ATM and everything and left the money there.
Oh,
and
I wish I were around to take it.
Prof, when I went back, the money wasn't there. I sat in the car and I laughed. So sometimes it's good for you to laugh with yourself. I mean, not when you lose money, but sometimes you do something that is so out of character. You be like, my God, did I just do that?
Yes.
And my New Year's wish for Liberia is really a change of mindset. For people to know that they deserve so much more. For people to strive, for people to for the educational system, to be built so that people can be civil in the discourse. There's so much I wish for Liberia, and I think that we can do it. You and I have had we've had shows here where we talk about Liberia's place in the global community and how Liberia was a nation that was revered and honored. And I think that my wish for Liberia is for Liberia once again to take that place. To for people to hold it in reverence, to know that for people to know that and these things that people are saying about Liberia, countries have fallen and have gotten up. And I think I've always said that there have been times I have been ashamed for Liberia, but I've never been ashamed of Liberia. And I keep saying that if we lift Liberia up, I'm sure that next year, if God spares our life and we are sitting here, we will say, look at Liberia, and be so happy. So I think that's my hope for Liberia. Yeah. So maybe we can look at some comments and see if people are putting their Margaret Mapu Dicey say Happy New Year. Focus on Liberia. Happy New Year, Margaret. Happy New Year.
Yes.
May God bless you and yours. Happy New Year. Yanyon Peter say Happy New Year to you all. Happy New Year, Yanyon. Happy New Year. Howard says Happy New Year to my mentor, Madam Jackie. Oh, you are my hero, Howard. The things that you do, I swear, I don't know where you get the strength. So Happy New Year to you, your beautiful daughter and your beautiful kids. Happy New Year. Eugenia, Happy New Year, Eugenia. Prof, you want to say Happy New Year?
Are you?
Yeah. And how I say, I know who came up with this is really a problem. All Western traditions and practices the next day people go back to their old behavior. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true. You know, Prof. Hawa is right. And there's also, you know, like my great grandmother. I think there's a tradition in the Grebo tribe. I don't know about the other tribes where they spew water.
Mhm.
You know that, right? Where the people
But
spew water.
yeah, water is so the symbol of life and what have you. Even when older people are blessing you, they spew water.
Yeah.
They tell you to turn around. They spew water. So water is almost a universal element of life.
Yeah, so it's almost like, you know, like sometimes when my great grandmother, like when she and somebody fall out and a person wants to come back to the house, then they have to spew water. So
Mhm,
it's almost symbolic, I think, of New Year. You're spewing the
mhm,
old, you know, and you're
mhm.
taking in the new
Yeah,
to
yeah.
start to start a new. And Howard says black eyed peas. I just made that. They say it's good luck. Oh, okay. Yeah, they say down south
Mhm,
they collard greens and black eyed peas.
yeah.
So I was like, Aliu say thanks so much for this program, folks. The truth must be told. I think he's talking about the Cape Masurado
And
that
other
we
things,
that
right?
we all
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Margaret says no dirty laundry going to the new year. You get that right. Oh, our beloved Mama Liberia, may we never forget our former love. May we continue to fight for a better change. Happy New Year, everyone in and out of Liberia.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's right.
we show some videos at the beginning of this show that
Mm,
people with all the hard time they are going through, you know, they are
mm,
just saying that we hope that things will be better, you
yeah.
know, and that's so what we all hope for. Eugenia says we start afresh on New Year. Yep,
Mm,
we start afresh. Margaret said Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Margaret. He said most people I've spoken to today in Liberia have said they are staying home because it's so dark in their area.
mm,
Transformer blown some in some areas, and the heat at night for some who are depending
mm,
on electricity for comfort
mm,
is really a problem.
mm.
Well, we pray for them. We pray that
Yeah,
that things will get better.
yeah.
You know, it is not yeah. So he said, boy, I fly G's. Boy, I've been gone a long time. I only remember the AME and the SDA church. Where is St. Thomas? Hey, St. Thomas is okay. I'm Johnson Road. It's one of the oldest churches. So you've been gone a long time.
It's almost as soon as you enter Camp Johnson Road.
Yeah, Margaret said it happened to one of my girlfriends who $600 left in the ATM. Ooh.
Mm.
Ah,
Wow,
I
that's
mean, I think
terrible.
the ATM machines they do have cameras, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, my oof. Say come and say Happy New Year's to focus on Liberia.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. So we can go to so what I thought we would do now is that now that we've talked about Liberia and other things, we want to focus more, Prof,
Mm.
on the self.
Mm.
Because it is by changing the self,
Mm.
we can change
Mm.
things. You know, if we all change mindset,
Mm.
change behavior, change the way we confront problems, I think that we'll be able
And
to
and again, this is where the Steve Evans thing comes in. Uh, he explores the question of the importance of stories. Uh, he says that stories are very important because they appeal to the human heart, which is the seat of emotions.
yeah.
That is how, and that is why stories have the capacity to change lives. They reach into ourselves and gives us an opportunity to question what we are doing, question what we hope to do, and question what we must do. That is why even in UN story, they say uh, the 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 thing about human anger, human criminality begins from the mind and the heart. Therefore, the first target of changing people is to go to the heart, to go to the mind, and those stories that are told, whether in songs, in movies, and all that, those are the things that are supposed to impact us to make us to take a new direction. We saw that in the era of apartheid. We saw that in the era of black and white relationship, even in this place called America. So stories have an important role to play because they address things of the heart and things of the mind.
Yeah, and they take cultural values too. They give you
Yeah.
value system
Yes.
that you can live by. You know, like a
Precisely.
spider weighs is small because it's
Yes.
greedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So we want to go into a little bit of text, and text that will kind of galvanize all of us as we move on into the new
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I went looking for some poems by Liberians, and I found one by Edwin Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Edwin
Prof.
Buckley,
Edwin
yeah.
Barkley. You know, and actually, it's I guess the translation. It was from the Library of Congress. So let's read his poem, and then we can go on to the other poems that will galvanize us as we get into
Okay.
the new year. So here it
Totally.
is, if you can all see it. So this is someone is talking to the young guy, and they're saying, "Youngster, cease. Your perils is sure. Canst thou see the spreading cloud like a great ship on the deep? Spread its sails and onward sweep, batching from its side most loud. Death and hell and conflict sore. Badness this of knowing kind, punishable with greatest wrath, culpable, deserving death. Dost thou know 'tis certain death? Dost thou know 'tis certain death to set out on such a path in this darkening, boisterous wind?"
Mm-hmm.
So these people are telling this young man, "Don't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
you know that thing is bad. What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the guy, he they're talking to, he answers, he says, "Nothing deters my fixed intent." Thus the noble youth replies, "To the height of yonder mount I will go and reach the fount where my spirit ever flies in my." So I'm saying that like this translation is kind of, then upon his onward way, determination and nerve, a purpose and a will, on he goes and onward still, his intention still unswerved, onward to the close of day, and the boisterous wind behind hushes on with quickened pace, and into the crest glades drives him, neath the darksome shades, like death hang o'er the glade. Mad like Hades by the wind, undeterred and undismayed, forward in the mist he goes, dark the night and dark the left. Still he moves far up the cliff, by a way which no one knows, he reached the center undismayed. Yay!
Uh, this is symbolic of Icarus, for instance, Icarus who thought to
Yes,
fly
yes,
until the wings were burned. And
yes,
also, Shakespeare talks about uh, youth, the tension between young people and old people.
yes,
Old people wrecking, lifting signs, and young people wrecking them down and all that. So the tension, it is the tension of perspectives. It is
yes,
the tension of directions and what have you that the poem attempts to discuss, and wherever it goes, well, it is the whole thing of making sure that, hey, old people, yes, young people may have sense and what have you, but old people were around for a very long time before young people got in, and so it augurs well for young people, even if they have their own mindset, to never forget listening to the advice of old people, or at least if the advice that is being provided is constructive,
yeah.
there
But
has to be a
in
way
this
of
one,
filtering.
the older people are saying to him, "You're gonna die."
Yeah.
And he
Mm-hmm.
says, "No, I'm going to try." And he reached the mountain. You
Uh-huh.
know, so sometimes it seems as if in our experiences we want to be able to spare
Mm-hmm.
the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
But the younger generation, sometimes you have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make mistakes, and
Yeah.
and lo and behold, sometimes they do get there. You
Yes.
know, so our young people, we hope that they get the skills and the education to be able to move on up to the mountain.
It is very much important to have the knowledge. Like you cannot be arrogant in ignorance.
Yeah.
You cannot be arrogant in ignorance. So the thing about what you're saying, there has to be the skill sets that will kind of drive. But if you don't have the skill set, you want to go alone, then actually that's where, as I said, this moment of arrogance in ignorance will come into the picture. And if it comes to that point, it serves no one better, because actually you, the person who is arrogant in ignorance, you destroy yourself. And when you destroy yourself, it is like destroying other people. We talk about John Donne and his thing about meditation 17 and all that.
Yeah. And so we, again, coming back to the text, there's one thing we want to share is the one with President Tubman. So we did our research trying to find New Year messages from past presidents to be able to give us some hope as we enter into the new world, the new year. And we found one from President William V.S. Tubman, January 1st, 1948. And that is very significant because that was the end of World War II. And so Liberia also had come from darkness into light, because all the countries were like, oh my God, these things that are happening. And so President Tubman gave a New Year's message, and we're going to put it on the screen. I mean, not the entire message, but the ending is so profound. So we have the first few lines, I think, from the beginning, and then we have the message. And I hope we all can read it together to get some hope for the new year, because I mean, Liberia had come out of war. If you remember, the Germans bombed Liberia's port, yeah, for turning on them. But anyway, here it goes, and we can all read it together. Prof?
Yeah.
It says, on this first day of the first year
of the second century
of Liberia's independence,
I send you greetings for the new year and extend profound reverence and gratitude toward the kind Heavenly Father for his mercies in sparing us alive in this great and progressive era. United in war and in arms, we seem irreconcilably divided in the period following the cessation of hostilities. Victorious together in war, squabbling and bickering over the peace. In these hours of international darkness, may we seek light to illuminate our path and to inspire us in the midst of these tremendous odds. May the leaders of the nations carry the burdens naturally inherent to the tasks assigned to them, and the burdens which have resulted from a world inflamed with deadly hatred, with the calm and sober spirit of love, patience, and dispassionate endeavor. And may the God of all mercies and love graciously keep the people of the earth from the impending destruction and give victory in peace to offset defeat in it. Entering into the new year, we know not what it holds for good or evil for us, but we should renew our resolve and determination to fight for liberty, for peace, prosperity, and for humanity. WVS Ma.
1948, January 1st. So I mean, of all his speeches, this one is really impactful, because this little country had gone on the side of the Allies after cutting the string with Germany, who was one of their largest trading partner.
Yeah.
You know, Liberia said, you know what, even though you're our trading partner, America is our friend.
Yes.
So we're going to go on the side of the allies.
Hmm.
And they have been victorious. And you can see from his message, it's a longer piece, I think like 5 pages, but this is you can see that they were already squabbling and bickering over the piece.
Yes.
Because this was the time of the Marshall Plan, I think.
Yes. It's I mean, 45, the war ends, and then 3 years later, that's when he is talking now.
But they were bickering over who's going to pay for what, you know, and poor Liberia. After they bomb our port, what did we get? Nothing. You know, but you can see what he says. He said, in these hours of international darkness. And if we look at today, the hour of international darkness is COVID. You know, COVID, this unseen enemy that we have. He said, may we seek light to illumine our path and to inspire us in the midst of these tremendous odds. You know, so this is our former president speaking to us, you know.
And that is the beauty of language now. That is the beauty of language in the sense that you know, Christian rituals will have something like, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Can you just imagine? We're talking about mass migration. We're talking about the darkness in the lives of people who are moving from one end of the world to the other and getting caught up in the miasma of sadness and all that kind of thing. Can you imagine all that? It's like somebody is like Thomas speaking just today.
Today.
It's like see. So it gets to that. That's why reading is important, though, so that nothing, and history is important as well. So like you see it and say, but nothing is new. Of course, the scripture says that nothing is new under this earth.
Under this earth, yes.
See?
And because he says, entering into the new year, we know not what it holds.
You see?
For good or evil for us.
COVID.
He said, but we should renew our resolve and determination to fight for liberty, for peace, prosperity, and for humanity.
That's hope again. You know? Let people lose hope and they lose life. It's very much important, that piece.
I really liked it. When I read it, I was like, oh, Tubman was on a roll, you know. It was I really like January 1st, 1948.
Good, yes.
1948, So if we can continue, maybe some Zeze Kerman say Happy New Year to focus on Liberia. One Fly JC, Happy New Year 2022. I plan to go home and pass on some of my skills to anyone willing to receive.
What are the skills?
Margaret says, I usually don't do resolutions. I used to, but not anymore because I jinxed the whole purpose already. So I'm just wishing for a prosperous year and new outlook on those things that weren't accomplished like I started but haven't completed. Michael Warner said, thanks for doing this. President Tutmo's message surfaces today. Right out, Professor Nagbe. Michael Warner said, right out, you know. So yes, it is important that as Margaret says, you know, what I always say is that if you have resolutions, don't say them out loud if they are personal, you know. Keep them, write them down, and every day look at them and say, I will do this. But if it's public, like I wish only good things for Liberia, then it should be. Then you should say it, you know. We want to uplift our country. So we should say that. But all in all, the new year is really a time of personal beginnings. You know, yes, a country can say, oh, we will do this, you know, but resolve, you know, I will do this, you know. I think that it is very personal for us. And I found something when I was reading about in Plato's Republic, Prof. And they say that when the souls had chosen their lives, right? So this is very personal. When the souls have chosen their lives, they went before Lachesis, right? Who the three faiths. Those
Yes.
the three faiths. Okay, they went
Yes.
before Lachesis, right? And she sent with each as the guardian of his life and the fulfiller of his choice,
Yeah.
the Damien that he had chosen,
Yes.
right? And people say, oh, that's your guardian angel. That's the one that what's his name? That Ajibe says, the chief. When a man says yes, his chief says yes also.
Yes.
And that means that it's the inner resolve of the person, right? So they said that when they went to pick up their lives, when each soul,
Yeah.
so they say your body is just a vessel for your
Yeah.
soul. So when
Okay.
each soul went, right, they had chosen their life. They went before the third faith.
Yeah.
And she sent with each of them as the guardian of his life
Yeah.
and the fulfiller of his choice.
Yeah.
So people have free choice, So this is my choice. Your Demian will help you fulfill that choice,
Yeah.
right? But you can say, oh, this thing happened to me because the people don't like. No, choice is what they're talking about.
And it's, I think, even if you don't say it out loud, you as a human being have got to have something to aspire to.
Yes.
You see,
yes.
that aspiration is very much important. Even it is even the entire thing about life itself. We may not be, we may be rotten, but there is something in us that needs to push us. There's something that has to be the gravitas. There's something that has to drive us. So in an indigenous language, it is often said that what is professed is what the witch doctor prescribes. What is professed is what the witch doctor Denny Wonjia Enijrije. What is professed is what the witch doctor. In other words, you have, at some point, you have some energy within you. You have some mysterious energy in you. And what you utter, especially when it is constructive, when it is decent, there is a possibility that the mysterious forces and voices will continue to speak to you, to urge you. You said you were going to do this. What is hampering it? You said you were going to do this. What is getting in the way? So then you try as much as possible to fight very hard to be able to conquer. So it is very much, you may not conquer, you may not achieve all, but at least you have something that you should be proud of. That is, I think, that is the importance of resolution.
Yeah, I think you're right, Prof. It gives you something to aspire to, because as I've forgotten who said it. Said a man cannot be perpetually in the mud.
Okay, all right.
You cannot perpetually be in the mud.
Okay.
And look, it's something as simple as we were talking the other day about sitting at a table.
Yes.
And I said, the thing that bothers me is when we see these young kids on Facebook or social media, other social media, and the people are giving them food. There's nothing wrong with food.
Yeah.
But you're giving them it, they're sitting on the ground and they put the food on their lap and they're eating. And I remember my grandmother we had a small children's table. And we aspire to go to the big people table one day. So if you build in them, if you treat people with respect and you say, this is what you can be.
Yeah.
And they say from your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
It will happen. You say God will hear your prayer and make it true. So as we I know people are getting ready to go see the ball drop and to celebrate, but really New Year is a time of quiet contemplation of where do I see myself by the end of next year, or by the end of this new year that's coming. What is it that I want? How can I'm not talking about always money, how can I achieve what I've set out to achieve, and And as we're closing, I always we're talking about Tennyson, and I told you about Ulysses, and Ulysses, Prof, is, I mean, Alfred Lord Tennyson, of course, he's poet extraordinaire, but in his Ulysses, right, when the sailors, right, when they were defeated, they couldn't go on anymore, right? And Ulysses stood there to speak to them, right? To give them courage to go on. This is a literary hour. So we will end with that. But before we end, maybe we can just look at some of the things before we go to your final comments or what else you want to say. So Michael wanna say thanks for doing this. President Tubman message surfaces today. Yes. Roland, we say Happy New Year, Dr. Nagbe, and God bless.
Yes.
Oh, it's not only Dr. Nagbe that's here, Roland. And One Fly Jays, thanks you so much for the education you dish out on the show. Yes, and thank you guys for listening. You know, we sometimes Prof and I we go back and forth, and Prof say, I don't care if there's one person listening. We're going to talk about it. Yeah. So Prof, resolutions, New Year, Liberia, final comments.
Yeah, I again, a nation that studies, a nation that that goes after information, is a nation that remains relevant. You know, because without information, without being studious, you cannot make progress. You will cycle in the same spot like a dog chasing its tail, as people often say. So my best wish to Liberia, my best wish to Liberians, my best wish to the world is the need for people to cultivate the energy to want to understand themselves, to understand their environment, and to understand the linkages that we have with one another. Respecting information should be able to be number one in terms of, because once you've gotten the information, you can transmute that into knowledge, and that knowledge should be able to have a significant utility. So that is what I am wishing. Of course, you know, we are doing a book. You think I'm coming to forget it? We are doing a book, and I just hope that we will be. You are laughing, right? You think I'm going to forget? And we try as much as possible to get that going, and hopefully that should have an impact on our country and our fellow compatriots.
Yeah, I think we should finish our book before the bicentennial.
Yeah.
You know, so we can contribute to the discussion, to the discourse.
Yeah.
So we've come to the ending of today. We want to leave you with I want to leave you with Tennyson's one of my all-time favorite motivational text. I just think the beauty of the words. I'm going to read it. So they can you can read it with me, but I love reading it, and this is what I want us to do. Fight this year. Fight for what you want. Fight for your country. Fight for your family. Fight for your peace. Fight for your place in this space. You know, and don't. Dorothy Carter say, if your back not bent, they can ride you. So do not bend your back. You know, occupy your seat, settle in, be comfortable. You know, and be proud to be a Liberian. Be proud. You know, because if we didn't have the upbringing that we had, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, so when people say, oh, that country give you, you know, I tell people, I say, yeah, I may have gotten higher degrees in America. I was educated in Liberia.
Yeah.
Under Prof. Nagbe. And that made all the difference, you know. So whether you are stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, we have miles to go before we sleep. Yeah. So here is my all-time favorite piece by Tennyson, and I'm going to read it. And then Dennis is going to close with a song that we can all dance to. Okay, so here, I can't find. Okay, so I can't play. Oops, I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, so let me just read it because he says, "Come, my friends. It's not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in order, smite the surrounding furrows. For my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isle and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield." Prof, I love that piece. You know, that which we are, we are. Though we are not that strength, which in the old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, we are. And, you know, and one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and faith, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So this year I would say, don't yield. You know, though we are not of the strength that move heaven and earth, that what we are, we are. You know, and so we will fight. We will not yield to 2022. We will fight 2022. And with God's help, we will be here again.
That's right.
So we thank you, you know, Prof and I, we're on this journey, and we thank you, you know, and sometimes we come, we discuss things, you know, sometimes we just chat, but we ask you to always just join us. And please don't forget, the Cash App is down if you want to contribute to Focus on Liberia. No, seriously, if you want to contribute $25, $5, $10, you know, please do so, because the year is coming up and we have to pay for our StreamYard again. So please just donate. It's not a lot, $5, $10, you know, Cash App is right there, you know, and we thank you. And we say, you know, do not yield. Though much is taken, much abides, you know, and we will not yield. We will fight, and we will one day dance the song that's coming up. We will dance it on Broad Street and in Kipamas and everywhere. So happy New Year, my people. And let's all stay on so you can listen to the song and dance. Okay.